All right, welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're unpacking the epic, high-stakes journey of a legendary player who is out for absolute blood. Seriously, we're looking at a story that completely redefines the whole concept of a one-man army.
So imagine being the ultimate solo player in a hyper-realistic VR game. I mean, a world where every NPC you cut in half actually feels real, and every server is a literal physical place. Our protagonist, Rokon, is basically a walking cheat code. He's this solo ranker who just decimates entire guilds by himself. But what happens when that absolute powerhouse gets ambushed and wiped out by a massive, coordinated army? Well, you get the story of Rokon's ruthless, highly calculated climb back to the very top.
Part 1. Betrayal of the King, the Fall and the Return. Let's set the stage here. Rokon gets ambushed by 300 top-tier players. And they aren't just any players, they're led by the #1 ranked guy in the world, Odin, and his Ragnarok guild. They mercilessly kill Rokon 8 times in a row. They literally strip away all his levels until his character is permanently deleted. Game over, right? Wrong. He wakes up the next day, but not in the game. He's in his real-world bedroom exactly 3 years in the past. It's 2021, and he's got exactly 1 month until the game officially launches. Knowing that this game's brutal hyperrealism requires actual physical mastery, he spends that entire month just intensely training his real-world body. It's the perfect lesson in how true preparation totally beats instant gratification.
Just before that regression happened, picture this. Rokon is sitting there at a measly 2% HP, totally surrounded by the strongest players alive. Odin actually pities him and offers him a spot in his guild. And Rokon? He just laughs right in his face and drops this chilling promise. I will destroy you one day. That right there cements his ultimate motivation for this entire chronological saga. He is coming for Odin, and oh man, he's gonna make it hurt.
Part 2. A Flawless New Beginning, Early Game Awakening.
Now, Rokon doesn't just casually start over. He executes a flawless speedrun. He completely breaks the game's limits right out of the gate by exploiting his knowledge of the future. Step 1, he drops a literal collapsing building to crush the goblin boss, instantly earning these crazy legendary titles. Step 2, he spends days doing what everyone else thinks is just a massive waste of time, hitting training dummies. He physically pushes his base stats, his strength, durability, and stamina, to the absolute maximum limit. Only then does he officially kick off his journey by unlocking the insanely aggressive Berserker class.
Because here's the thing about this world. Levels can be incredibly deceiving. Take this arrogant, heavily armored level 25 knight who challenges our guy fully expecting an easy win. But Rokon, who is currently sitting at level 1 with 0 armor, literally shatters the knight's premium helmet with a single devastating punch. How? Because of all that intense early training, Rokon's underlying base stats are actually equivalent to a level 50 player. The knight never stood a chance.
And Rokon's tactics? They are extreme. When he's facing down the massive orc chief, he quickly realizes he's outmatched in raw power. So what does he do? He intentionally lets his health plummet to the absolute brink. I'm talking a measly 2%. This massive, crazy drop in health awakens a sacred epic skill he earned earlier called Unbreakable Resolve, which grants him a huge 50% stat boost right before death. He absolutely obliterates the boss in seconds and skyrockets 20 levels from just 2 fights. Talk about a high-risk, high-reward strategy.
Moving into Part 3, Waging War on Guilds, Mid-Game Conflict.
Armed with his future knowledge, Rokon essentially becomes a menace to the entire game system. He frames factions to ignite early bloody wars between the orcs and wildlings, all just so he can swoop in and steal the boss kills. Then, he systematically hunts down the notorious Bloodhunters Guild, basically treating 100-man ambushes like casual farming runs, and manages to steal a priceless stealth cloak. He manipulates the real estate market like a pro, and to top it all off, he completely ruins his ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend, Pyra, causing the rival MP guild to utterly collapse in humiliation. He is an absolute savage.
When that MP guild tries to softly sabotage his hunting by stealing his monster kills, Rokon drops all the pleasantries. He issues this simple warning: the talking part is over, and then he literally tears through their ranks. Sure, he earns himself a severe killer player penalty for murdering normal players, but he proves to the entire server that he tolerates absolutely zero disrespect.
So Rokon has conquered the tutorial and the local guilds. But just when you think he's invincible, the guy's effortlessly dodging spells and catching arrows barehanded, the true monsters of this world step onto the battlefield to remind us of the real stakes.
Part 4. Shadow Magic and Assassins, Boss Battles and Ragnarok Clues. This is where the stakes get intensely personal. As Rokan continues his one-man slaughter of the Blood Hunters, he realizes he's fighting a guy named Cabal. Cabal is a warrior using insanely rare shadow magic and deadly paralysis poison. But more importantly, Rokan recognizes the fighting style. This guy is actually Nidhogg, the future 8th-ranked member of the Ragnarok Guild. Rokan is finally face-to-face with a future follower of Odin, his sworn enemy. It is on.
And this fight is brutal. Cabal turns the entire battlefield into this terrifying arena of shadows, landing massive hits that slice Rokan's health right in half. Pushed to the absolute edge, Rokan's berserker state is rapidly burning out. Down to his last 10 seconds, Rokan relies on a tiny lightning orb to stun Cabal, creating just a micro-opening. With a mere 5 seconds left on the clock, he delivers a ferocious last-second strike that literally splits Cabal in half right before the timer hits 0. A painfully, breathlessly close call.
Having survived the assassins and secured a massive power boost with a literal second heart, Rokan heads to the central continent, and this leads us to what is easily one of the most hype-filled, logic-defying encounters in the entire story. Because how exactly does one player defend a fortress against an army of 500 undead?
Part 5. The One-Man Army. The Central Continent.
500. That is the exact number of Black Dragon undead players that converge on the coastal dock. Think about that. 100 players, each summoning 5 NPC guardians, forming a massive, terrifying legion of 500. They arrive fully believing that their sheer, overwhelming numbers will effortlessly crush our lone berserker.
But Rokan, he just turns the battlefield into his personal playground. Armed with incredible titles, including a buff specifically meant for fighting armies, and his insane maxed-out stats, he hurls his Bombardier attack to utterly shatter their defensive shields. When their strongest player, this lightning-fast, undead samurai, uses his ultimate Abyss move to summon spirits, Rokan simply vanishes. In a blur of pure cinematic speed, he uses his hellish advance to slice off the samurai's arm and execute him on the spot. He single-handedly routs a 500-man army. Unbelievable.
Part 6. Clash with the Emperor Climax.
Now we reach the ultimate escalation. Rokan isn't just fighting regular players or standard bosses anymore. He uncovers this dark conspiracy involving a massive, glowing eye device and a deeply corrupted emperor. And this emperor, he mutates into a massive, world-ending monstrosity. Surviving its massive, city-destroying energy beams requires every single ounce of Rokan's speed and his maxed-out physical combat skills.
But you know Rokan, his confidence literally never wavers. Despite the sheer size and overwhelming power of this beast, Rokan uses the environment itself. He violently pushes off a building to launch a savage, gravity-defying axe strike straight into the beast's brain. He proves that no matter the mutation or the magic, raw, calculated violence still reigns supreme.
The climax hits an absolute fever pitch right after this. A massive battlefield erupts as bandits clash with corrupted knights. High above the chaos, Rokan intercepts the corrupted king, Randor, midair. Randor falls into a complete frenzy, evolves and unleashes a literal storm, hundreds of dark energy stakes raining from the sky to turn Rokan into a pincushion. But Rokan matches the king's frenzy with his own relentless speed, deflects the terrifying barrage, and lands a clean, decisive blow to end the Mad King's reign once and for all.
And that wraps up our explainer of this incredible blood-soaked arc. Rokan has proved his physical mastery, dismantled massive guilds, and slain mutated kings. But it leaves us with one massive, lingering question. With Odin and the core Ragnarok members still gathering power in the shadows, just waiting for their time to strike, when that inevitable, world-shaking rematch finally happens, will Rokan's revenge be absolute, or is history going to repeat itself? It really makes you wonder, just how much higher can the King of Violence climb? We'll have to see.